Okay, we're going to talk about objects. And JavaScript objects are one of the most important types of data structures that you're going to need to know if you're going to work in the field as a professional web developer, JavaScript developer, etc. The degree to which you need to know them in depth and really work really well with them depends on the program you're in, but it's something that you need to know. Um, you've already seen JavaScript objects in your studies up to this point, but let's just give you some examples. So let's just say we have, what is an object? The JavaScript object is a key value pair. The keys typically are strings, or the key can, usually reads as a string. Um, we'll talk a little bit more about that later when we talk about JSON. But the best way to really get started is just to start declaring objects. So, and this is the type of thing where I really encourage you to follow along and just start working with some of these examples. So we could say var um, person equals an empty object, right? So when you think about an object, it is a container, just like a string contains these characters. Arrays contain data, just separated in chunks by commas. Objects contain key value pairs, but objects can also contain multiple values inside. So you can nest properties inside of objects. Let's just first talk about the basics. So we have person. One way to assign, you have keys and values in objects. So you could say person dot name equals Alice, right? And then person dot city equals Rio. We're going to console.log person. So you see here, you can use the dot syntax to directly set a property on an object when you know what the key name is. It's like you're manually setting it, right? Now, if you say console, also if you know it, you directly know the name, then you know the key name, because this is key value, comma, key value. So you can say console.log person.name. We know name is a property. Get Alice. If we say console.log person.city, we know there's a city on there and it's real. But if we say console.log person.state, and run it, it's undefined because there is no state on person. But another way to do this is by using the bracket syntax. So when you use the bracket syntax, what goes inside the bracket is very important. In this case, if we were to run this, we would get an error now because name here, it's representing like a variable, right? And so it's like, well, wait a minute, I don't know what name is. I don't know what city is. So it chokes when it gets to line 4 here. So this name here has to be in string. Whoops. And city also is string. So person name equals Alice. Person city equals Rio. All right. And same thing here. I could do person.city. I can still access that with the dot. Rio. Person.name, still access it with the dot. But I can also access it like this, person name. And get Alice. Because this, it's looking it up by the name, right? So if you had a variable that evaluated to the word name, this would also work, right? So if we had something like this, like our nombre equals name, I could say person nombre. Now look at what's happening here. We had an error before when we just try to just type something in the square brackets. But if it's a variable inside here, it'll evaluate it to what it is. So person nombre is the exact same thing as just saying person name, right? So if I say person nombre, then I get Alice. Or if I say bar ciudad, city, then same thing, right? Person ciudad, you get Rio. And I mean, this could be anything, right? I mean, this could be staffs, but there. So there's a difference between dot syntax and bracket syntax with objects. So go into the next clip, and we'll go deeper into objects and talk a little bit more about what this looks like, especially when we're manipulating the values inside of the objects.